If your tracker says you're recovered, but you don't feel recovered, pay attention. If your readiness score looks fine, but your energy isn't, that mismatch isn't random. And if you're doing everything right and still waking up tired, your metabolism is compensating. Not failing, compensating. And until you identify the compensation pattern, you'll keep guessing. Welcome to Women's Metabolism, MD. I'm Dr. Mylaine Riobé, board-certified OBGYN and integrative physician. This is where we look at women's metabolism with clinical precision and strategic clarity. Let's define something clearly and use it consistently. So what do I mean by compensating? A compensation pattern is the specific way your metabolism adjusts when stress has been chronic for too long. It's your body's way of keeping you functional. But functioning is not the same as feeling well. Under ongoing stress, your body may suppress functions that are not essential for your immediate survival. Hormonal signaling can shift. Sleep can become lighter. Digestion can slow. Inflammation can be harder to clear. Energy can feel limited. You're still productive. You're still capable. But you're operating inside a compensation pattern. There are 6 distinct compensation patterns that I call dynamic metabolic types. Each one responds to stress differently. Each one produces fatigue differently. And each one requires a specific rebalancing process to restore optimized metabolic function. Now let's bring trackers into this conversation. Trackers measure numbers and metrics. They measure heart rate variability, resting heart rate, sleep hours, movement, strain. They show you data, but they don't tell you which compensation pattern you're in. Your HRV may stay low for months. Your readiness score may still look acceptable, and you feel tired anyway. So you try to fix what the tracker shows. You sleep more. You train less. You tweak intensity. But nothing truly changes. Because the tracker can show you that something is off. It can't tell you how to rebalance the compensation pattern that's causing it, though. That's the missing piece. Let's make this concrete. If your compensation pattern leans toward inflammatory excess, the wrong approach may deepen inflammation. If your compensation pattern leans toward metabolic depletion, the wrong approach may leave you even more exhausted. If your compensation pattern leans towards overstimulation, the wrong approach may keep your nervous system wound up, even when you're technically at rest. Same fatigue, different compensation patterns, different corrections. Trackers can't see that distinction. They see inputs. They give you some general advice, but they can't identify the mechanisms causing those numbers that they're measuring. And without knowing that, you're guessing. High-achieving women are not lacking discipline. They're often applying discipline in the wrong direction. Misapplied effort keeps the compensation patterns active. And that is why fatigue persists. Now here's the part that matters. You don't interrupt or correct a compensation pattern with motivation. You interrupt it and correct it by applying the correct inputs through the 4 pillars of wellness: eat, move, rest, and detox. The pillars are universal. The application is not. Each compensation pattern requires a specific way of applying these pillars. For some patterns, eat means stabilizing blood sugar and lowering inflammatory load. For other patterns, eat means increasing fuel and correcting undernourishment. For some patterns, move means reducing intensity and rebuilding gradually. For others, move means adding structured activity to break stagnation. Rest does not mean the same thing for every compensation pattern. Some need deeper sleep, some need nervous system regulation. Detox is not about trends or fads. It's about improving the body's ability to clear inflammation and metabolic waste that accumulates under chronic stress. When the compensation pattern is correctly identified and the 4 pillars are applied strategically, sleep deepens, HRV begins to rise, energy becomes steadier, recovery improves, inflammation becomes easier to resolve, not instantly, progressively, because you're no longer reinforcing the compensation pattern. You're correcting it. Now here's where many women get stuck. When tracker data doesn't match how you feel, you start doubting yourself. You override fatigue. You push through. You restrict when you shouldn't. You add intensity when you shouldn't. And that keeps the compensation pattern active. Rebalancing often requires doing something that feels counterintuitive at first. Fueling when you're used to restricting. Reducing intensity when you pride yourself on discipline. Adding structure when you prefer flexibility. This isn't weakness. This is strategy. If you continue applying the wrong correction, the compensation pattern will deepen. Fatigue will become more layered. Recovery will take longer. Energy will feel less predictable. Not dramatically at first, gradually. And gradual decline is easy to rationalize. You call it aging. You call it a busy season. You call it stress. The compensation patterns don't resolve while the reinforcing inputs remain the same. This is the clinical reality. The solution isn't more tracking. The solution is clarity. If you recognize yourself in this, stop guessing. Take the dynamic metabolic type quiz. It will identify your specific compensation pattern and show you exactly how your metabolism has been adapting under sustained stress. From there, you'll be invited into the 7-day metabolic stabilization journey. The 7-day journey is not the full transformation. It begins stabilizing your compensation pattern so your system is no longer reinforcing the same stress response. Many women begin noticing early shifts during those 7 days. Clearer mornings, more stable energy, less internal strain. This is stabilization beginning to take hold. The 9-week Women's Metabolic Transformation Program builds from that foundation. It fully applies the 4 pillars of wellness: eat, move, rest, and detox in a structured way, specific to your compensation pattern. This is where change consolidates. This is where energy becomes predictable. This is where transformation becomes durable. But it starts with clarity. Identify your compensation pattern. Then move forward with precision. Fatigue is not random. It reflects a compensation pattern, and compensation patterns can be rebalanced when the right process is applied in the right sequence. Stop guessing. Take the quiz. Links in the description or in our bio. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.